They heard yelling. They didn't hear love. They heard condemnation. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, home should be the place they are coming to. Even if you get pregnant, come home. Anyway, some of us women, we don't even tell our children we love them. Who is going to affirm them? Do you think the teachers in school will be the ones to tell your children you love them when you haven't said it? And if the teachers are saying it and you are not, they will be more drawn to their teachers. Then one boyfriend will now meet the girl and tell the girl, I love you. The girl will now fall. You'll now be shouting, you've turned into prostitution. Christ said, I don't understand. When last did you affirm that child? I've moved into parenting now. When last was that child affirmed by you? Everything that child does is wrong. I don't understand. She looks like the father. So, but you give birth to her. Or she looks like your sister-in-law that you don't like. So every time you see her, you just see your sister-in-law. And then you're not going to go out. Mommy, see, if you don't pour, in Yoruba, they say something. They say that, how am I going to interpret this? In Yoruba, they say that, the African shrew is a rat, is a rodent. They say that when the African shrew gets older, it suckles from its children. It takes milk from her own children. And what I interpret with that is that if I pour bitterness into my children, an angry mother into my children, when they get older, they will talk to you angrily. And you'll be wondering where it came from. But that's the language they heard. They heard yelling. They didn't hear love. They heard condemnation. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, home should be the place they are coming to. Even if you get pregnant, come home. That should be your language as a mother. Not throw them out. To who? To who? Or to whom? Parenting. Parenting is defined as child rearing, parent or child rearing promotes and supports physical. So I provide food, shelter for my children. Emotional. When they are crying, you should be a shoulder to run to. Not, now so cry, now so cry. I shower, you they follow boys in the neighborhood. I don't understand. Have you ever guided me, mom? Have you ever told me the kind of boys to look out for? Okay, I'm out in the street because home is always hot. That's why I'm out. I'm out in the streets because you are not nice. Okay, you are yelling that I didn't wash the plates well. Have you come to the kitchen with me to say, my daughter, I don't want you to get to your husband's house and your husband is now telling me that you don't know how to wash plates. Oh yeah, come, let's wash it together. Let me show you. This is how to know that a plate is clean. Have you done that? So emotional well-being of our children. Social, we guide them. These are the kind of friends to have. You see these kind of kids in our neighborhood. They can be a bit tricky. Please don't go there. Social, spiritual, and cognitive development. Of course, we send them to school and we support them with knowledge that is available. From infancy to adulthood. Parenting refers to the intricacies of raising a child and not exclusively for a biological relationship. Of course, but look at the word, raising a child. We're raising children. Let's go to the next slide, please. And as Christian parents, we need to give our children spiritual courage. You know, when a ship is in turbulence, it is the anchor that holds it so that the ship doesn't actually tumble. And that is what faith gives to your children. Anchor of my soul. Courage, so that when life throws them anyhow, they know where to go to. And not Christianity of hypocrisy. Not Christianity that you are in church. You've called the children, hey, we are sanctuary keepers. Let's go. They've come to sweep the floor. But mom, if this is how a Christian mom is, I don't really want to serve in church. Because you're not nice. The nicest version of you is the you that is in church. So the best version of my mom is my mom that I see in church. That child is not going to come to Christ. But as you're warm in church, you're at home again, you're like, kids, what are you going to eat this Sunday? Oh, sure, but I'm so down. Hey, this thing is making me sad, my children. They go like, Mommy, everything will be okay. But that is because you've sown kindness and empathy and compassion into your children. Because when they make mistakes, the first thing you do is not to condemn them. You ask, how did it go wrong? But you too shall remember that I warned you. Encourage. And the next thing I'm going to be talking, yes, so we need to hand the baton to our children, or else Christianity is going to become extinct. So you have to be intentional about handing over the baton of faith to your children. There are no excuses. As you can see, other religions are not joking. We are even the ones that are saying we want to have two children, one children. It's in multiples in some other faiths. So for Christianity to continue and for the glory of the Lord to come upon the earth and for people to experience Christ in its multiple fold from generation to generation, we have to be intentional about handing over the baton of the faith from hymns to morning devotion. When the kids, or a child that is preparing for WAEC, that slept at 4, and mommy is now saying this morning devotion must be 6. Instead of that child coming out for morning devotion, how about as the child is sleeping, I go to lay hands on her? That is empathy. But a child that has slept at 4, you are now talking, devotional children, I don't want you. The children will just go like, now if Christianity is this hard, children that we are begging for Christianity to be simple before, you are now making it hard for them. How about I go to kneel before that child? Toluwani, I know you slept late, but because we're having morning devotion, I want to say a prayer. Your WAEC results will go well. You will find favor. All will be well with you. How about that? Who is laughing? Did I hit somebody? Next slide, please. So what are the different parenting styles? We have very permissive parents. That is neglective parents. They are the children that their children are abused. You don't even know how your child got sexually harassed. They just go out without any form of accountability. They come in when they like, they go out when they like. Then when the child now marries and the husband is saying, you have to be back at home at 6, you're staying for what? Because we don't have time in my house. The boys in the area still have access to me at 11. That's permissive parenting. You rarely give or enforce rules. You indulge the children. And especially for parents who are in conflict with their husbands, they now want to be permissive parents so that they can receive the love of the children. We will suffer for it later. Neglectful, permissive, that's it. Uninvolved, very absent, never around. Even when you are around, you are on your phone, you are gisting with your friends, you've gone to gist with the next door neighbor, you are not present. Indifferent to your child's emotional behavior. Why are you crying? You are just in your room since morning. What is wrong with you? But did you sit down to ask what happened in school today? Authoritarian. You set strict rules. You have king. You swear. You call them names. Hey, one-way communication. No consideration for the child. No attention to the child's emotional and behavioral needs. Once you are coming like this, the children run in 10 directions. But authoritative parenting is saying there is assertive communication. Please take me to the next slide a bit. You set clear rules and boundaries. No, there should be another one on boundaries and connections. On boundaries and connections. But what we should be is an authoritative parent, not authoritarian. In authoritative parenting, there's a two-way conversation. Okay, these are the boundaries. Mommy, that's a get-together with my friends. Yes, boundaries. You can't be a parent and not set boundaries for your children. But you have to marry boundaries with connection. That's why I've put the other picture there. They go together. In authoritarian parenting, it is only boundaries. I set the rules without connection. But in authoritative, it's saying, I'm still the authority. I'm your parent. I'm going to set the rules. But if you want to negotiate, let's go. So you see some of my children, they negotiate. Well, I've got 2 kids. They negotiate. They go like, hey, Mom, we want to go and see some of our friends. First of all, they don't go on play dates without me being sure with the families they are going to. Then, I go like, okay, when are you back? They go like, mommy, can we come back at 6? I'm like, no, we do 4. They go like, okay, mommy, 5. I'm like, okay, 5. And of course, I have tracker. So we are tracking each other. Then I'm like, okay, when are you home? Okay, you're home at this time. So that is boundaries with connection. We will negotiate it. Let's talk about it. And the last thing I'm going to say, I'm keeping to time with 20 seconds. I've done well, mommy. The last thing I'm going to say is that picture of the tree is that the gifts that you have for your children as a parent is that you give them roots in values, in spirituality, in home training, in courtesy, in respect, in compassion, in empathy, in giving, in serving the Lord. And then you give them wings so that they can become the finest version of themselves. Thank you.